Okay.
That's why they're alone, most of them.
So once again, the truth is the truth. How you use it and how you perceive it is the difference. It's your truth at that point, right?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, if you guys look at the marital status, I mean, like I said, it's dropped over the years, and so and like I said, it kind of goes hand in hand with our. Hey everyone,
guys.
welcome back to another video. This is going to be part 3 of a 3-part series where we break
Yes.
down all the statistics from the modern day all the way back to like the 1960s, right? But before we get into it, guys, let's introduce ourselves, honey. My name is Twan.
I'm Sim.
Thank
Nice
you,
meeting everyone again.
Welcome back, loyal viewers, and of course, welcome new viewers checking out the
Yes.
channel. And please, guys, do us a huge favor while you're here. Smash that like button and
Like
hit
us.
the subscription button,
Yes.
please. Right? We're going to be trying, like I said, I want to ask you guys, right?
Show us some love.
Yeah, do us
Show
some,
us some love.
Do us a huge favor. Do us a
And
huge
let's reach
solid.
that
And try to hit
1K,
1,000
1,000.
subscribers, right? In the next month or two,
Yes.
right?
And we can do it.
And
do
we'll
it.
definitely let you guys know what we're planning if we do that. Okay,
Yep.
so check it out, guys. Please comment, right? Share,
Yep.
share. Like I said, these videos, the part 1, part 2, and part 3 that we're gonna be doing today, share it as much as you can,
Yes.
because this is the truth that the RP community has always talking about. This is what I want to see, and I hope the RP community wants to show as well too. These statistics, because this is what's the outcome has been.
Yep.
Right? And this is what's been leading up to this modern day outcome that we're seeing, where like, because we're going to break it down today, right? Today, part 3, we're going to be breaking down the outcomes. That's what's happening of the first 2 chapters, right?
Yep.
Part 1 and 2, right? And we're going to talk about how the marriage rates have been declining and the birth rates have been declining,
Yep.
right? And that's how it relates to the truth, because our truth, which is the truth, is about family, kids, and the best outcome for your kids, right? And so if you're not going to have marriage, family, tight, strong family units, and then of course you're not having kids anymore, your birth rates are down, how are we fulfilling the truth?
Yep.
Right?
What is the purpose of life, really?
Correct.
What are you working really hard for? You work hard, for your legacy, but guess what? Your legacy isn't going to continue. So
Correct.
what's the point?
Correct.
In a way.
Guys, go check out our channel over at TikTok at His&Hers YT, right? And let's get into it.
Here
Okay,
we go.
yeah.
Let's dig in.
All right, so today, like I was telling you guys, today is about coming full circle and obviously figuring out why part 1 and part 2, these are the outcomes, right? And so, guys, the links that I have for you guys today is from the Census. It also is from Macro Trends, and it breaks down the marital status from 1950 all the way to 2021. It also breaks down the birth rates from 1950 all the way to 2022.
Yep.
And then the last one is from the Census as well, and it breaks down the percentage of kids with 2 parents in the household that is actually married.
Yes.
Right? So tight family units. Okay? So the first one, and guys, we'll have all the links in our video, right? Go
later
check them
on.
out. Don't believe us. Go check them out. And obviously go check out some other stats, because they're gonna corroborate these themselves. These stats are not meant to be emotionally or anything like that. It's
Nope.
just spouting out what's been happening. Okay? And so if you look at the marital status from 1950 to 2021, it's dropped down dramatically.
Oh yeah.
Back in the 50s, we used to have close to, or if not over, a 70%
of marriage.
marriage rate in
Both
family
parents
households.
And, yeah.
Okay, men and women, 70% of us were married.
Yep.
Okay, from then until now, and you'll notice that there was a steep decline
Starting to go
during the feminist
down.
movement,
Yep.
1960s, 1970s, right? Now it's down to 40%.
Yep.
Okay, and then once again, guys, like I said, this is not a shot out to any ethnicity and stuff like that.
Nope.
But if you look at ethnicity-wise, blacks are at the lowest,
Yep.
right? They're below 40%. I think it's down to like 30%
yeah.
now, right? Whites are next at the 40%.
Yep.
Hispanics and Asians are last, and Asians specifically. Okay, right? Hey, and real quick, guys, I forgot to say this in the last video too, but in terms of ethnicity by pay,
Yep.
it's pretty much the same thing, right? Hispanics are at the bottom in terms of average earning income. Blacks are next, whites, and then Asians are at the top in terms of average earnings.
Yep.
And you'll notice that it kind of goes hand in hand with
Yep.
relationship and marriage rates.
Yep.
Because as much as we want to cap, as much as the truth wants to be masked, as much as the Matrix, as much as the feminist
Yep.
movement, any of these false ideology wants to hide the truth.
You can't mask.
You can't
reality.
mask the values.
You can't mask that value. Or
when you
reality.
have the correct values and the values that we talk about on this channel,
Yep.
right, honey? Which is the men brings a certain value, the women brings. When you have your values high, it's gonna automatically lead to the truth, which is women and men are gonna get together that matches these high values, and we're gonna have families and we're gonna have kids from it.
Yep.
And when you don't,
Yep.
you don't.
And that's why we always say a man's got their role and a woman's got her role to play.
Right.
With. So
if you look at the marital status charts from gender and ethnicities,
Yep.
if I had to tell you, honey, guess which ethnicity has the highest marriage rates?
Highest marriage rate, of
Yes.
course, it'd be Asians.
There you go.
We don't sugarcoat things, in a way. If like, hey, if you're overweight, you better get your ass to the gym. If you're not making money, then you know what? Like, say if the husband not making.
My
enough
point
money,
is, regardless if we're straightforward
but just
or not,
our values.
my point is we've
know?
held to these values.
Yeah,
If you want to
values.
call them traditional, I think it's just BS that we call them traditional now. But
It's just values.
the point is, they've always been these values. They're not traditional or modern.
No.
These values are always going to be the values. The truth is always going to be the truth.
Yep.
It's how you perceive it. I think the perception is more traditional or modern, right? So obviously there's traditional perception that these values are actually important.
Yeah, yeah.
And the ones that hold these traditional perceptions have better outcomes,
Yep.
right? And then if you believe in all these false lies that we always try to debunk on this channel, right? And you believe in this modern perception of how your values are supposed to be, like I talked about on the last video where modern women have been lied to and thinking that they bring finance to the table, well, you can see what the outcomes are.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's why they're alone, most of them.
So once again, the truth is the truth. How you use it and how you perceive it is the difference. It's your truth at that point, right?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, if you guys look at the marital status, I mean, like I said, it's dropped over the years, and so like I said, it kind of goes hand in hand with our first charts, right? Which
Yep.
is as women's weight has gone up, and as your guys' finance has gone up, which leads to the perception of that the men's finance is not as important, right? Marriage
has
rates
declined.
has declined. Okay.
Has gone under.
Correct. The next one with the macro trends link that I'm going to post for you guys is the birth rates from 1950 to 2022.
Yep.
And same thing,
Yep.
right? So obviously the birth rates were a lot higher back then,
yep.
right? People were
Now.
obviously having family units, and it was for the truth. The purpose
Yep.
was for the truth, having kids. And so as you see, more and more, it just keeps slowly declining,
Yeah.
right?
Well, because back then it's like the man's role was provider. Like he provided for his wife, his kids, and that was his job. And while the woman is somewhat caring for her spouse and her kids, while, making sure everything's in check, whether she's, making sure she's, dressed nicely when the husband comes home, or making sure that her kids, are doing well in school, that type of stuff. Now, the roles have switched. Like you don't really see that tight knit type
or the roles
roles
are not even wanted.
Yeah.
And my point is not only the roles have switched, but like you're exactly right. But my point too is that the roles have not even the purpose is no longer there. You guys don't even want marriage. You don't even want kids. It's just resources and sex, right?
Well,
the big lie.
More people are just to put it plain, you guys are more selfish. It's all about me right now. So
Yeah. The scary thing is when we combine this
Selfish.
last chart though, and right, and it's from the census, and it's a chart about percentage of kids with two parents who are married or unmarried or just dating. Okay. And if you look at back from the 1960s, I think is when this chart started, or early 1960s. Oh, 50s. I'm sorry, 50 years. You'll notice that the majority of households were married,
Yep.
right? And now it's like unmarried, and now it's like single moms,
or
right?
single parents.
And if you look at the ethnicities, once again, guys, don't take the emotion out of this, right? Just take it
No.
out, right? Blacks used to have a 70% married household with kids. Now it's down to, I think, something ridiculous like 20-something percent. It's
Last time we
super
checked.
low. And whites the same thing. They used to have this high percentage, and now it's down to 40%.
40-something.
Okay? So my point
Mid-40s.
is, you guys are taking, like I said in our other videos, right? The modern woman, you guys are taking kids, less serious than marriage.
Yep.
You guys think that marriage is more serious than kids. So you guys are having kids out of wedlock.
Yep.
right? And as I was telling you guys before, no, kids is supposed to be the purpose. It's supposed, not marriage.
Well, it's more now in this day and age. It's more of the finance. Some people are having the kids because they might get more finance, more money out of it, instead of just using it as for their best outcome to raise that child. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
And
they don't really care about that anymore.
go check the stats, but there's a lot of it. Obviously, with the sexual liberation too, women are having more sex than they've ever had before. And as much as you guys try to control it with birth control, obviously birth control use has gone up dramatically in these charts. Abortion, I'm sorry, those rates have dramatically gone up. So even with that increasing, you guys are still having more children out of wedlock.
Well,
right?
Because
you guys have fallen for the big lie, which is sex. I do just what a man does, right? I can have as much sex as I want with all, as many different partners as possible. And it's okay. If I have unprotected sex, I can freaking have an abortion. I can, get rid of the kid when I want to.
Which is pretty sad. Which is pretty sad. And, having a child should be out of love, taking care of them, and it's not about the money thing or whatever else. It's not being selfish that, hey, if I have a kid and hopefully financially he'll pay for it, but he doesn't have to be there. I mean, what kind of, parenting would that be? Like,
correct.
A child need to be raised in a way like,
yeah,
both parties.
And guys, we can break it down to the reasons why, right? With the family courts, right, where the woman gets custody of the children.
Yeah.
Obviously, the man has to pay. There's more incentive. There's more enabling for the women to be a single mom. I get that. And obviously, with the opportunity to abortion and stuff like that, you guys are obviously enabled to have more sex.
And what was that outcome?
And regardless, like I said, I'm taking my emotion out of this. Regardless of how I feel about these topic matters about the family court or abortion, the point is the outcome is still the outcome.
Yeah,
meaning we're not marrying.
No.
Our birth rates are going down. And kids are in single family households, which is not the best outcome
it's more negative
for
than
our
positive.
children. Exactly. We've talked about the stats, right? Like, the majority of kids that become criminals or degenerates or has the least amount of education or reading skills come from single mom households. That's just the statistic.
And you can look it up if you want to debunk us, but look it up. It's not something here we're making up or anything. It's the statistics.
The marital statistic chart is really interesting too. You'll notice that the men's charts, even though it has gone down, it hasn't dramatically changed in divorce. So women always say the time that men are unfaithful, we cheat, right? But it's not. If you look at the divorce, our divorce rate and our widow rate has not dramatically increased. Widow rate makes sense, right? Because you guys live longer than us. Why would we be widowed if we die before you?
Well, I feel bad because most of the men had to work harder. That's why you guys die faster.
But my point is if you look at the marriage decline rates, it follows closely to the women because, of course, women don't want to marry us, right? But if you look at the divorce rate, the divorce rate is low, and it's only slightly increased from 1950s until now. But if you look at the woman's divorce rate, it was low at one point. Dude, if you look at the chart, I think at 1950, it was almost near 0% divorce rate for both men and women. But if you look at the women's now, it's 30-something percent of divorce rate for women.
Yeah.
So my point is you guys are wanting to marry less. Already. So you guys are believing that I can be independent, I can be a boss babe, and average men aren't appealing to me. So you guys don't want to marry the majority of men already, right? But when you guys do get married, you guys are the first to also leave. You guys are also the first to hey, I'm going to leave this situation and break up the family unit.
Yep.
Right? And that's just the stats, guys. Like I said, I'm just here reporting the stats.
And that's pretty sad.
Right?
Yeah.
So as much as the RP community gets attacked we hate women or we're trying to shame women.
We're not.
It's not. It's just these are the outcomes that's happening, guys. Right? And I'm trying to be very mindful of the words that I'm using. Blame. Right? Where do we put the blame?
Well, because most people don't want to take accountability of what's going on, nor do they want to see the truth. I mean, you have the statistics, CDCs, whatever else come out, but you know what? You still don't want to see the truth.
Correct.
And then when you have all these negative outcomes where you can't turn back later on because it's going to be
You're
so
too
far
old.
gone.
You're too gone.
You know?
Yeah. Men don't want you anymore, right?
And then you're going to be like, oh, because the men now are picky. No. If he wanted a family, he wanted a family when you were young, like when you were 20 something, 25 and under, where try to, where he is successful, or maybe he's not as successful as 10%, but he could still provide for you. You didn't want that. And now that you guys are gone too old, you can't have kids and everything. And then you say, oh, well, now he doesn't want me.
And
why,
and go check out our number 1 video on this 3-part series. Your guys' weight has dramatically increased. So you guys weren't even slim and in shape, even at 20-something years old to begin with.
Yeah. And then if you try to make dinner or whatever else, you're thinking that, oh, my God, you're slaving away. How is that slaving away when you're supposed to help make dinner? Or you're supposed to, do the,
the nurturing part, the caring, right?
And then you don't even want to show that. You don't want to show that side of you. And now it's like, women, you guys are complaining just by doing just simple stuff. So how is that a man supposed to feel anything towards you? You can't be nurturing. You can't be feminine because you've gone way above overweight. And then when he doesn't care for you because you're, a certain size, and then you're telling him, well, he's just a chauvinist man, whatever else. It's like, you just don't want to see the truth. You don't want to change for yourself, to better yourself. But then all you do is complain.
Yeah.
And,
so my whole thing is, now that we have kind of all the stats broken down, that I feel like, and trust me, there's some other stats that we can touch on, some of the other values, right? But I feel like, these are the 3 big ones in terms of like your fitness, your finance, right? And then obviously now the outcome, which is like, marriage and kids, right?
Yeah.
Now that we have kind of all these stats in these 3 videos, guys, how do we correct it? And like I said, I'm trying to be very cautious of the word blame, but how else can you look at it by looking at these charts? Women's weights have dramatically increased. Your guys' perception of our finance value has dramatically decreased. And so remember, I told you guys in the last video, we have this super huge inflation, right? Women think of themselves as this, even though their value has gone down. I hate to say it that way, but because you're overweight and obese, your value has gone down. So now you think you're yourself this high, even though your value has gone down. And now you think of men as this low, because now that you're making money, your finance value for them, your perception of it has gone down this low.
Yeah.
So who needs to do the correcting?
Well,
right?
Women we just need to do this correcting. Just open up our eyes, look at yourself, reflect on certain things if you don't want to live alone.
Correct.
And that's all I'll tell.
That's
all.
I have to
say.
Well, that's all the
I
RP community is trying to say.
That's all I'm
right?
going to say.
If the outcome, if you're complaining that you cannot have marriage and have kids and have a good outcome, where do you have to make the correction? You have all the stats now. You have all the truth. Where do you want to go from here?
That's like, hey, you're touching fire. It's going to burn you. Something is hot. It's going to hurt. But then you know what? You still want to go do that.
Women,
whatever.
Ladies, I get it. Men have to step up. We always have to step up. This song and dance has never changed for men. We got to become. We got to work harder. We got to do this. But the truth of the matter is, there's always going to be this top 10% of men, and there's always going to be this average group of men. It's always going to be that way.
Well, we're always going to have tiers, right?
Exactly.
You got the 1%, you got the 10%, and then you got the middle people.
There's only so many chairs in this song, right? Like, you guys know the song, that game where, there's a certain amount of chairs and only certain people can fit in each chair? Yeah, the musical chairs, right? Yeah. There's only so many chairs. So that means there's only so many opportunities for a man to become the top 10%. The rest of us are going to be just average.
And it doesn't matter. And then average guys can bump up their values. Like we said, it's not like you're going to always stay
regardless,
average,
honey, regardless if they can or cannot. The point is there's always going to be average, and the majority of us.
And there's nothing wrong with
that's
average.
That's my point. So who has to change their perception of average to make this work out?
Like most of us started average. We started out as average.
It's the women is what I'm trying to say.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Right? So ladies, you guys going to have to, unfortunately, look at these stats, self-reflect. My wife said a really huge important word that we always say in the RP community earlier, right? But accountability. You're gonna have to self-reflect and hold yourself accountable. Say, hey, I'm where I'm at. I'm overweight. I'm the average woman. I'm 5'4", 177 pounds. I'm making average salary, $33,000 a year. I'm sorry. That means you ain't going to survive by yourself. You're not going to be able to retire on $33,000 a year. You're going to die alone with your cat and your dog. How do you change this outcome for yourself?
get better.
Either
work out,
one,
eat right,
either
whatever
one,
else.
get better and be able to match up with a higher value man, assuming that there's enough to go around, which we know already isn't enough, or you work with a man, an average man, who has nothing wrong with him being average. We just said this right already. Work with an average man and make this situation work so you can have the best outcome for yourself, your kids, and not die alone.
Yep.
Okay, that's the learning lesson of these stats.
That's
okay,
all we can tell
so
you.
hopefully you guys can, like I said, the RP community, we need to go mainstream. It's not about an ideology. It's not about hating women.
No.
It's just about seeing these truths and how do we correct it so we can have the outcome for the truth.
So you can work together, and that's what we're here for. Work together and have the best outcome for you guys.
Correct.
So that's it.
All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good
See you
one.
on-
Bye.